and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Making changes. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. It was one of the first states to order people to stay home to stop the spread of COVID-19. Now California is getting ready to open some things up.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says they're going to release new guidelines allowing some retail businesses to do curbside pickup as early as this Friday.
Clothing, bookstores, music, toys, sporting goods stores, florists with Mother's Day coming up.
The head of the State Department of Public Health, Dr. Sonia Angel, says some counties can now apply to open even more businesses than that.
That means that counties can move more quickly through stage 2, but only if they attest that they've met specific state readiness criteria.
But some counties are ignoring the stay-at-home orders. Rural counties like Modoc, Yuba, and Sutter have already reopened businesses. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is taking a methodical approach to reopening the state.
Forget the anecdotal, forget the atmospheric, forget the environmental, forget the emotional. Look at the data, look at the measurements, look at the science, follow the facts. And that's what we've done here from day one.
The number of deaths in New York State continues to go down, but Cuomo says there was still 226 deaths in the past day. As far as when the state will reopen, Cuomo says he will do it in stages to avoid another wave of cases. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says the state's schools will remain closed for the rest of the academic year. Remote learning, which has been going on since mid-March, will continue. A decision has yet to be made on summer courses and the 2020-2021 school year. The world's largest hornet, dubbed the murder hornet, has been found in Washington state. The giant honeybees, but its sting can be fatal to some humans. Entomologists are working on ways to wipe it out. America is listening to Fox News.
When running a business.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. It is Jeranism Monday Night Raw, the current, reigning, defending, and unarguably, without question, the #1 show on Truth Frequency Radio. On Monday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific, 9 to 11 Eastern, I am your host, Jeran from Jeranism, and joining me from his quarantine in Connecticut is David Weiss. David, are you getting sick and tired of this world? I saw you saying your recent Skype comment, you said you want off this planet. Where are you going?
I'm going to Mars. I'm taking there's a couple people offering rides. I'm going.
All right, good.
The stupidity every time I leave my home makes me want to quarantine myself. Just seeing kids riding bicycles out on a windy, sunny day wearing masks. And
well, hold on now. They're saving lives.
They're being considerate of other people. And lifelong friends who are just willfully ignorant, do not want to learn, do not care about the facts. It's difficult.
But Dr. Fauci says it. Okay, I won't go into that voice. We also have joining us Jason Lingren. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. A voice of reason in the, cacophony of nonsense. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. As always, I love being here with you guys.
Good to have you. And we also have your better half, Rose, don't we?
Hello, everybody.
Rose, what's up? Nice to have you.
David, I'm sorry to say, but I think Richard Branson is going to have to refund your ticket yet again.
Oh, no.
Why is that?
I don't know. Ask him. He keeps kicking that can down the road.
It's all right. Space is hard. I can wait a little bit.
That's a lie, though. He said that we would have hotels in space by 2014. So I don't know about kicking the road. I've seen.
I was hoping on Elon. Elon's going to Mars soon. He has those one-way tickets, right?
What's up with Elon, man? That guy's surprising some people with his recent tweets, and now he's put up all of his possessions for sale.
Yeah, what is up with that? He's tweeting about the faking numbers. He's tweeting some crazy stuff. That's not just him. This is organized, but can you figure out what he's doing?
I don't think any of us can figure out anything that's going on, to be honest.
Is MK Ultra programming breaking down?
Yeah, it might be. It's wearing off.
If he's one of those?
I don't think he's in charge of his tweets. Justin Bieber's not in charge of his tweets.
Well, I can tell you on good authority that people who are famous generally have other people run things for them. That doesn't mean that they can't access it to do something. But generally speaking, if they're doing a lot of interaction, they probably have a helper taking care of that stuff.
Yeah, and we know that Bill Gates certainly is not looking at his Instagram, although it is nice that people are speaking out on that platform.
Yeah, you don't think he's reading all those comments?
No, I don't think that he has apps on his phone. I don't think that he uses this stuff, really.
Probably not. I don't know. We'll have to see if he calls in tonight. Maybe we can answer that question.
Wait, Bill Gates doesn't have my app on his phone? That's impossible.
You might be right about that.
I just think it's getting disgusting. So I guess we can talk about what's going on in your areas. I'm just getting frustrated beyond explanation. I can't gather what's going on. There's so much misinformation out there. There's so many of these numbers. They're almost backing you into a corner where to even talk about this stuff, you have to then bring in the numbers into play. And by bringing in the numbers into the play, aren't you admitting that you trust and believe these numbers? You know what I'm saying? So it becomes difficult to even talk about because you can't start talking about the percentage of deaths. You can't start talking about, well, here's the death rate percentage. Here's how many people are sick. Here's how many people have been tested. Because then you're just trusting everything that they've told us. I mean, look, we need to see what's going on. The war on drugs, right? Well, they were the ones bringing in the drugs. The war on terror. Well, they created 9/11. They created the whole idea of that. Weapons of mass destruction and bullshit. So now with this war on the virus, again, we have to recognize that this has been brought into play by them again. I mean, they already said with their Event 201, if there's a pandemic, here's the things we will do. We will work from home. We will close schools. We will create makeshift hospitals. That was the plan all along, and now they're following through with it. But for us to even talk about it and say whether it's warranted or not, it requires us to start talking about their numbers. I don't know. This is where I think, even that video that got banned, right? The Dr. Erickson and Masihi video. I feel like that was, again, a little bit of a trap because now you're starting to see that some of their numbers were grossly incorrect. But again, if I'm going to say that, then I'm admitting that I'm trusting the numbers from the CDC.
Right. The CDC yesterday or 2 days ago lowered the death count by a significant amount, and then they changed it back again. They're everywhere you check, you see a different number, and I think it's a way to to create confusion. It's like on all these other big events, they do that. They give you conflicting information so nobody can figure it out.
Right. They've done that all along, right? I mean, they've made it so that even truthers argue with each other back and forth about what numbers are real. Well, I think there's more deaths. Well, do you think there's more deaths this year than most years? Well, what about flu numbers? And I was talking about on Globebusters yesterday, or maybe it was after the show, I think that same CDC, and again, for the YouTube censors, we're talking about CDC data here, but when you look at the death counts and you look at the expected deaths, or what do they call it, percent of expected deaths, all those numbers are below 100%. But even I catch myself, if I'm going to start talking about that, then aren't I admitting that I'm believing and trusting these numbers?
Yeah, I don't think you should do it. I don't bring numbers into it. The point is what we can observe is that I don't know anyone that died from this fake virus.
Right.
Do you know anyone? Let's focus on what we can observe firsthand. Where's the pandemic? We can't find it. We have friends that have gone to empty hospitals.
Right. There are people that have that have died and that are on ventilators. Not just old people. There are occasional cases where younger people are in the hospital, and I don't know what the deal is. So they got.
Is that the new?
Yeah. They got something, but just because there's people that are in the hospital all the time. There's people that are young that have strokes, have heart attacks, can't breathe, and all this financial stress and health stress can cause this. I had, when I was switching jobs 10, 12 years ago, I had a panic attack where I thought I was going to die, and I went to the hospital and they ran an echo where they run the thing up your leg into your heart. If I really thought I was going to die, I couldn't breathe. If I went there today, they would put me on a ventilator and say I had COVID because I was so freaked out. So fear is the virus. Fear is the killer.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I totally agree with you, Rose. And that's a mistake even I've made that now I'm looking at and saying, okay, you can't go into these numbers because you're just admitting that you are now believing the CDC. Oh, well, there's only 97% of it. Well, then if I'm believing that 97% number, then I believe the rest. And I'm seeing that from a lot of channels where they're going into these numbers in detail. And again, okay, if you want to believe that. But to me, what it comes down to is that there's so much more to life than the avoidance of death. Really. I mean, there's so much more. And yeah, could we put a speed limit of 30 miles per hour? Miss and I were talking yesterday, and I said, imagine if we put a stop sign every 20 feet. There would be no more deaths caused by automobile. Zero. I mean, it wouldn't be possible. There'd be a stop sign every 20 feet, and if you didn't follow that, you would get arrested for not following the law. Nobody would ever hit anybody with any kind of impact that would cause a death. There'd be accidents, but there would never be a death. But we don't do that, and that's for a reason. The reason for that is because it would completely take away that you have some risk with life. So I don't know. For me, I just see a problem with this mask wearing. Again, I mean, David and I were talking about it today, but I want to ask people if they're wearing these masks is like, and they ask me, well, Jeran, why aren't you wearing a mask? I want to ask them, well, what does this mask mean if for now, forever, they just say, oh, well, there's an influenza out there. There's a COVID out there, 19, right? In 2020, there'll be COVID 20. In 2021, COVID 2021, or COVID 21. If there's always going to be this threat, does that mean that we all have to wear masks now for the rest of eternity?
But their answer,
definitely maybe.
Their answer is, well, there is a pandemic now, and it's out of respect for the other people because you could be, spewing viruses into the air through your sputum and infecting other people. So you should wear a mask. And it's just such nonsense. A virus. It's like saying you're putting up a chain link fence to keep mosquitoes out. Okay, that's how small these supposed viruses that supposedly get you sick. I mean, there's so much wrong with the premise of the argument. You can't even have the argument.
No, and I was looking up some stuff today, Dave. After we talked, I just looked up. Is it healthy to wear a mask? Is it healthy to wear a face mask? But what I did is I searched for only articles from before any of this happened. And of course, there's tons of articles that say, no, it's not healthy, especially if you have any kind of chest issue, if you have heart issues, if you have lung issues, if you have asthma. It's absolutely bad for you to wear a mask. But again, you're not going to see anything like that. You're not going to hear anything like that now because this is the new quote unquote norm. Very exciting.
So your protest, I was telling Jeran earlier, Paige was very impressed, made a nice little collage for images and said, proud of our friend Jeran. And our neighborhood friends saw it, and it was somehow the last straw. and they came out swinging. How, do you think he considers, the rest of us, go home, it's socially unsafe? We've lost big friends over this. And the problem is I'm unwilling to have willful ignorance. They're by definition willfully ignorant, where I bring up facts and they're like, I don't want to hear those facts, but they want to have the argument anyway. Are you guys experiencing any of that? Experiencing that?
Well, I've tried to stay away from it. I just had this discussion with Rose while we were having dinner a little while ago. I have intentionally distanced myself from people who are childhood friends, people I've known for could be 20, 30 plus years, because they don't get it. So I just keep my work, the kind of stuff that I've done for however many years now. I try to keep it separate. I don't even post on my Facebook timeline. I keep everything to groups and things like that. This way I don't get weird questions from family members or friends that I've had since childhood, because it's just not worth it. If I'm well aware of the fact that people aren't awake, I'm not going to go into arguments with them. So I just leave well enough alone.
I've been posting on my Facebook, and I've woken up a lot of people that I don't know. But for the last 10 years, I have like 2 friends that woke up because of my Facebook post. But if you ask me, it was worth it just for those 2. But man, it's so difficult. I have a list, just a list of things that I try to ask people, and none of them click. Can I run through some of them?
Let's hear him.
So do you find it strange that in 2017, Dr. Fauci said that there'll be a surprise pandemic attack during Trump's administration? How would one explain that if you were going to be, Corona Jeran?
Well, I don't know if I can go Corona Jeran. Well, they're always looking out for the future, and these guys are looking at numbers, and they.
All right. We'll go to the next one.
Okay.
Rockefellers in 2010 have a plan from the Rockefeller Foundation about coronavirus being released in 2020 to take away everyone's rights and crush the middle class. It's in writing. It's not a theory. What do you think about that?
I don't think I could explain that. The great minds together, and I mean, it just. I feel gross trying to.
Yeah. And then Bill Gates, did Event 201. We all know what it was. Just before this whole thing started, they simulated the exact event and what they would do, and they're playing out everything to the T.
We would work from home. We would close schools. We would create makeshift hospitals in the parks.
Yep.
This was the plan all along. We'll close park benches. We'll close playgrounds. We'll social distance. It was all right there. It's in writing.
Do you find it strange that Bill Gates produced the Netflix special Pandemic, which is the exact same scenario, a coronavirus outbreak from a wet market in China that was released just before this whole thing started? What is he, a prophet? How do you get there?
Great minds.
Great minds. Do you find it strange that in 2 separate video interviews of Bill Gates 5 years apart, he has the same book on his desk, How to Lie with Statistics?
I keep wondering if that's his way of rubbing his eyes with his middle finger at the camera kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think it's their way of disclosing. They have to tell us what they're doing. So I think that's a karma release in their minds. I don't know.
Do you think people are so brainwashed that they'll still make excuses for it and be like, oh, he's just trying to show that he's truthful and that he pays attention to the numbers and understands that, he understands how people lie to him, so he's not going to lie to others. People actually make excuses for this guy.
That's insane. Do you find it strange that Dr. Fauci wrote in a medical journal before this whole thing started that it was going to be no worse than the seasonal influenza, but then a week or 2 later when he was on TV, it's a pandemic? He change his mind, get new information? How do you explain that?
David, here's the problem. And I know you know this, and I know everybody here knows this, and probably just about everybody listening. People just have this, and I think the proper term is cognitive dissonance, but correct me if I'm wrong, but people just don't want to accept it. And for the majority of the reason why is because they're just generally decent human beings, and they wouldn't do anything like this. So they just can't even take that leap to go like, there's bad guys out there.
You know what? That's what I always say, that people are good. In general, people are good, and they can't imagine the evil that's out there. How about try to explain this one? Rose, let's see if you can do this one from the I believe in viruses sides that in the United States, all of the blue Republican states have 15 times the number of cases than the Republican states per capita.
You meant the blue Democrat states?
Yeah,
you said blue Republican.
Oh, blue Democrat have their numbers are 15 times greater.
They're more willing to accept nonsense. And I love these details personally, but we have to remember that they want us to get caught up. And it's good to point out their inconsistencies, but they really want us to be confused about all these details, like the Elon Musk thing, how he's putting out information and people be like, he doesn't seem like the type of character that would put out conflicting information. But that's another reason why people might think, oh, well, maybe he's one of the good guys, so maybe we should trust SpaceX.
Right. I was totally telling Dave the same thing, Rose, when I was saying earlier that this is just another way for them to further create the divide between the left and the right, too. You just bring up these numbers like that, and then you've got everybody on the right saying, oh, look, it's just a hoax, and you've got everybody on the left saying, how dare you, you're costing lives.
And they're associating hoaxers with Trumpers, and they're trying to keep everyone in that political idea.
The people who protest are all pro-Trump, even though there was guys riding around bikes as a Democrat for Reopen California. It wasn't a completely right thing, but of course, there's somebody there selling Trump hats. Well, what do you think? There's going to be somebody there selling Biden stuff? Give me a break. It's just, there's no such thing.
But that's an example of cognitive dissonance. People will say, oh, those hoaxers are just for Trump, and they will literally see a Democrat with a sign that says, I am a Democrat, and it will be like they can't see it.
Right.
They just don't. It's selective blindness.
That's it exactly. Again, it's that cognitive dissonance kind of thing. They're only going to see and accept what they want to, what they're programming. And I hate to say it like this, but these people are programmed. They've got what they accept as what's right and what's wrong, and that's the end of it. Now, some people are open-minded enough or perhaps have an experience that shakes that tree a little bit and some coconuts fall on their head. But for the most part, bad guys got this down pretty well.
Well, when they own all the mainstream media and you watch, people basically that I've talked to or seen just parrot exactly what CNN says, what CNBC says. It's like their day consists of waking up, turning on the news, getting their information that way, and then they go out like little soldiers. And they feel impressive. They feel smart. They feel informed to go out and basically parrot exactly what they heard that morning. I think it's ingrained in us from school age when we felt like that was how you know you're smart, right? You go to school, you sit in a desk, there's a guy who stands up front or a girl, they give you the information and you go home and parrot to your parents or your friends, and that's how you feel smart. And I think, too, at some deep level, people want to believe that the government has our best interest at hand, that the media is for us. They have our best interest. It's a very deep, ingrained feeling that everybody has.
It's pathetic that the best students are the best regurgitators of the Rockefeller-fed information in the textbooks. Do you find it strange that since January, the number of deaths caused by heart attacks, January to May, the number of deaths caused by heart attacks and strokes have almost zeroed out compared to previous years?
No one dies from that anymore.
No one dies from that anymore because COVID cured it, I think.
COVID is miraculous. It can do miraculous things.
And again, if you believe these numbers, look at the numbers of flu deaths. It's like down to 4,000 or 5,000 in the U.S. when every other year it's 70,000 by the end of the year. Crazy.
Do you find it strange that many hospitals that are usually on a good day, prior to COVID, are booked 110%? There's no empty beds, which is standard for like New York hospitals and other places. That they're at lower than 70%. They're giving nurses days off, and they have empty beds. While at the same time, the virus answer to that is they've gotten rid of all elective surgeries, so therefore it's empty. But at the same time, news stations are reporting that these hospitals are overflowing, and nurses are reporting the opposite. Guys there?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking on that. This is what we keep getting. So my stance has been, because people do ask me a lot, there's probably a flu. There's definitely a flu. There's got to be something. I don't think it could be absolutely nothing, but it's just not what they're painting it out to be, and that's the end of it. There's just nothing else it can be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be hard to say there's nothing because people die every year, and everybody here had the flu. I mean, everybody here been sick within the last 3 years.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. So, is there people sick? Absolutely. If you are immune compromised, be it that you're old or that you've got some other, then those are the things that take you out. Those are the things that kill you.
Don't you think that by now, all of us who have not observed social distancing, who have continued to live our lives exactly how we would have to the extent that we're capable of, we haven't gotten sick. I have a compromised immune system. I don't have a spleen. I was told that if I ever get a common cold, I'm supposed to go to the hospital.
And I haven't been really sick in years, except I got sick for like 2 months this year. In December and January, I had a fever for a while, and then I had a dry cough. But I got rid of it. I never went to the hospital or anything. And I believe that this was a horrible year for spraying. Perhaps there's a correlation where they've dropped everyone's immunity the best that they could in time for this year's influenza, and they turned it into a perceived pandemic.
What if the AI can actually calculate how all of these different factors work together slowly and incrementally, and they figured that just right around now, people would start seeing some symptoms, they can start marketing it with this virus. Yep. And then as people get sicker and sicker, as they ramp up the geoengineering, the 5G, the water, whatever they're putting in the water, just everything, the food, everything is poison coming at us.
The fear on top of that, I keep saying it, will make you sick, can kill you. And the people that are wearing these masks, they're in total fear for their lives. I'm surprised they're not checking themselves into the hospitals.
Yeah, all those people that were at the protest, we were all crunched up against each other, right? I mean, if any of them went home and started...
Jeran, how are you feeling?
Right, I feel fine, but that's because I don't have any fear of it. But I do think that if I came home and was worried and, oh my goodness, I was next to people and somebody coughed on me and I felt somebody sneeze and I touched somebody's arm, then I think that you can get sick. So I was asking Dave earlier if he thought that you can get sick by touching your face. And I tend to believe that you could. That I think that, if you touch something or whatever, it is possible to get sick.
Bacteria, sure.
Sure. And I've talked about it before, right? I mean, if you rub cocaine on your arm, it doesn't even get into your system. Everything's fine. But if
rub it on your gums, though.
Rub it on your gums.
It won't go through.
Right. It's a lot bigger difference. So, but I was telling Dave that I see when I'm walking around and I see all these people with masks, they're constantly touching their face. Constantly. Either to adjust the mask, they don't think they look good in it, they kind of pull it down, they pull it up, they reapply it, they take it off, they put it back on. I feel like the masks are causing people to touch their face way more than somebody without a mask.
They're obsessing over it.
They're obsessing over it. And then these are the same people that are fearful. So you've put all these, things, it's like a soup ingredient. You put all these ingredients together in a soup. You've got people touching their face, people with fear, people afraid, people watching the news, people scared that if they got close to somebody, there's people that will purposely go around me. I was coming out of the bank yesterday, people going around me because here I am without a mask. How dare I? And I just think all that combined equals sickness, possibly. But again, if any of those people went home from that protest and they're deathly afraid of, here's the good thing, is anybody who went to that protest, I know that they're not. They're not afraid. You couldn't go to that protest if you were afraid. It doesn't make any sense. What are you protesting? So
the cops weren't afraid. They weren't wearing masks, except a few of them that were probably just trying to hide their faces.
And they were all weren't 6 feet apart. They were next to each other. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. You've got another hour and a half, and we got your phone calls coming up again. Give us a call, 232-333-3998. Get in line. We'll see you guys at the end of this 3-minute break. Don't go anywhere. Here's Monday Night Raw.
As if we're really just born to die. I'd rather not be born. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV looks pretty.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Ann, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and winter. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. This is Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys for joining us. If you want to get in line for a phone call, tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods or whatever you want to discuss, 213-233-3998. Jason, I should probably tell you, may the 4th be with you, right?
May the 4th be with you, my friend.
Hey,
but
Ross
help
Bear,
Wars.
Ross the Bear, call in because I want to hear your story about your use of the card today. But I got 2 or 3 more. You ready?
Okay, let's go.
You find it concerning that the hospitals get paid $19,000 for diagnosing somebody with coronavirus and $39,000 for putting them on a ventilator? You think that
Well,
would...
of course, David, they have to be compensated because so many people aren't going out right now.
What do you want hospitals to go under? You want hospitals to not have enough to survive?
This is my favorite. Do you find it strange that the CDC says that if you get coronavirus, fully recover, that the antibodies that your body produced may not protect you from getting a second infection, but if you allow them to inject into you the exact virus that they admit they don't understand, that will give you immunity.
David, don't you understand that that's just the way these things work? This is a new novel coronavirus.
Right? It's not.
I thought the novel means new, or does it mean it's a novel? It's a story.
It means it's unusual. It's new. It's novel.
Do you find it strange that Beijing and Sweden both didn't have lockdowns at all, and their death rate was no different than any previous year of influenza?
Those are much smaller countries, so of course they're not going to experience the same amount of problems.
Yeah, people are more spread out there, Dave.
Dude, I come up with excuses all days for their bullshit.
We'll call it Corona Lindgren. I hate him. Where's the baller Dave?
Hate him.
Yeah.
But Dave, you're forgetting that the injections have mercury. So
25,000 times the amount of mercury or something like that they admit that they say is safe. I'd say no mercury is safe. I forget the exact number. Don't quote me on that, but it's a massive number.
Well, I find it a huge problem when I see world events that seem to push all their agendas forward. And if you look at this one, it's hitting every nail on the head. It furthers the fear agenda. It furthers the vaccine agenda. It furthers people's dependence on the media. Now you can't even go out in life unless you know what the current status is. So you got to check the media every day. What is my state saying? What am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do? Is my business allowed to open? Is it not allowed to open? It's furthered the people in debt. All these millennials are charging up their credit cards like crazy because now they have to. So if people are falling further in debt, it's making the rich richer, right? So you've got all these big organizations, Walmart, Costco, all these places that are allowed to stay open. They're allowed to continue on. They get richer. The poor get poorer. These mom and pop businesses, these small restaurants, they're going down. They won't come back. It furthers the left versus right. Furthers that whole divide. Trump is our savior versus Trump is a joke. It furthers the dependence on streaming TV. It furthers the dependence on Amazon, and then it furthers the police state. Which, if you can't, what is different between what's going on now and people have always talked about martial law is coming, right? Martial law is coming. What is this? What about this is not martial law? I don't really know.
It's self-inflicted martial law. They don't need troops marching up and down. People who may have listened to Bill Cooper and then Alex Jones kind of always pictured this as like a military takeover kind of a thing. Troops marching around, very Red Dawn kind of scenario, right? No. They're so good at the psychological aspect of this now that people just do it to themselves.
Yeah, and they police themselves, and now there's new text lines that you can text to tell on your friends, and it's no longer snitches get stitches, but now snitches get rewards. And here, tell on your family, tell on your friends, tell on your neighbors if they're having a party. And
snitches get my foot in their ass.
No, not today. You get rewards. You're saving lives by texting and telling on your neighbors for having a gathering of 6 people. If somebody's sitting on a park bench, they get in trouble. There was that video in New York today where some cop just knocked some guy out for no reason. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's just, I don't know what's different about martial law. It's the same thing. We all protested. And again, for anybody who didn't see my video, it was a very peaceful protest. Everybody's there. They're having a good time. There's no issues. Families having picnics on the lawn, playing Frisbee. And then slowly, before you know it, here comes the police, first with just themselves. Then they put their batons in their hands. Then they add their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle suits to even further it, and they've got the face masks, and here they start pushing people back, and then it becomes an issue. But I look at that, and I'm like, well, what's different than this about martial law? It seems like we're just going there. And I'm okay with government suggestions. I don't care. If the government wants to tell people we think you should do this, we think you should do that, but when it comes down to mandating things that go against your rights, like if they want to say, well, we'd rather think you shouldn't protest, that's okay. It's okay with me. I don't mind people saying that. Well, okay, I'm going to go protest. I'm still going to protest regardless. But then they're there, and they're saying, no, you're breaking the law because you're breaking an order that says that you can't be within 6 feet, or you can't be on these steps, or that you can't protest because you don't have a permit. Have you ever heard anything so crazy in your life? You can't protest because you don't have a permit?
What about free speech zones?
Ugh.
The very term makes me want to vomit.
Right.
Jeran, the protest, do you think that girl with the Trump megaphone was a plant? Because she was screaming so loud for no reason. And then, like clockwork, almost like a ballet dance, two cops kind of she just floated off with them.
Well, there's a total of like 35 people that were arrested, and I saw most of them. I don't think anybody was a plant, but I do think the intent to remove people was by design. I mean, they had media stationed behind the cops, right? So you've got the cops, and then you've got people with cameras behind the cops ready to film and interview people that were being taken away. So the second somebody got taken away, they had a microphone in their face from the media saying, do you have any comment? I mean, that just seemed like it was all theater to me. Now, I know what you're saying, and I'm trying to think, did I ever feel like one of those people was a plant there? Not really, because I think a lot of those people were just basically trying to say, we shouldn't have to move. We're here on these steps. You shouldn't be able to move me back. I'm not causing any problem. I'm peacefully protesting. And the cops were just once every 5 minutes taking one step forward. And they were going to arrest anybody. And again, the crazy thing is you were allowed to say whatever you wanted to those cops. So as far as freedom of speech goes there, I mean, there was people calling you fat this, you look like you want to, and just F-bombs and everything. And no cop did anything about that. The only thing the cops did anything about is when they were told by their superior behind them, proceed forward, they took a big step forward, and anybody who tried to hold their ground would be pulled into the crowd of police and be arrested. That's what it seemed like to me. Now, again, I don't agree with what they were doing and stepping people back. The problem is, I think, that if you had a protest like that and people were live streaming it and people were like I was, that I think the scary thing to the police state, if you will, is that more and more people would show up. That it wouldn't be like something that would eventually go away. By them showing their show of force, if you want to call it that, they were making sure that crowd dispersed and did not grow. And by pushing people to the street, by pushing people away, they were saying, this is enough. It's been enough time, whatever. That's what it seemed like to me. But again, I know what you're saying. That girl did seem a little out of her mind. Some of the people there did. But there was people there telling me, Jeran, get arrested. Go down for the team. Your subs will bail you out. And I'm like, it's just not in my interest to be arrested. I don't want to spend the rest of today in a Sacramento County jail,
Now you don't want to be arrested right now. Nobody should be arrested right now because they're delaying trials and stuff like that. And you never know what kind of nonsense you can get stuck in under the guise of it being pandemic law. And maybe that'll be a new phrase. Oh, it's pandemic law.
Well, it's also dangerous. You might get COVID.
You're going to go in the jail. You're going to be so close to all these people. And I read the reason that those people were all arrested was the law that they broke. Because again, I was thinking, well, what law did they break? But it was refusing a police officer's orders. So again, this was all by design, right? So you set up this line of police and you say every 5 minutes we're going to take a step forward. Anybody who doesn't step back is not obeying a police officer's orders. So, again, I don't know if I agree with that or not. I mean, it depends the situation. Again, it was a completely peaceful protest. These people weren't breaking down the doors. Nobody was going inside the Capitol. The Capitol was closed, as far as I know. There was no business going on there. The governor wasn't there. It's not like people were just peacefully protesting on the steps. And if you watch my video, you'll see at the beginning, I'm just walking up and down the steps and people are just sitting there with their dogs having a good time. And then all of a sudden we start to hear some boos and what's going on. Well, then the police started to come out of the Capitol building and take their positions up at the front, which didn't make any sense. Nobody was trying to go in. Nobody was trying to go forward. They were just there to push you back. So.
And that cop the look on his face, he felt.
Right. Yeah, I tried to talk to them. I tried to say, do you have any idea why you're doing this? Do you understand what law are we breaking? And he just shook his head. They're just truly order followers. And again, this is where it comes down to where people need to keep their jobs. The cop does not have the ability. And this is where I hear a lot of people saying, oh, the cops will never go against the people. The cops will never enforce unlawful actions. And yeah, there may be some cops out there that say that. But again, when they're told from above, they don't have a choice. So, I mean, yeah, is there some cops that maybe won't? Sure, but they're not going to have a job tomorrow. So this is a very well-designed plan where you've got people from above saying, here's what we're going to do today. we have to step these protesters off the property. We're not going to be aggressive. We're just going to every 5 minutes take one step forward. Anybody that holds their ground. And I was right there. That's who got arrested. If when they took a step forward, as long as you took a step backwards, then there was no problems. You could be cussing, you could be cursing, you could be saying anything you wanted. They weren't going to touch you. The only people that got arrested were people that once they took that step forward, those people held their ground, as in weren't going to take a step back. And that's why the cops had batons and would push you off. Again, disgusting in my opinion, because it wasn't as if people were rushing the Capitol trying to get into the building. That's another story. Oh, all these people are going to go into and we're going to spray paint the walls and we're going to do all this and we're going to break a bunch of laws. No, that wasn't it. People were just on the county's or on the Capitol building steps protesting. Well, what's wrong with that? It was absolutely, completely peaceful. And actually, if you watch the video, which I thought was interesting, all the people were social distancing, sadly. I mean, if you want to put it that way. They were, if you watch the video from above the helicopter, everybody was 6 feet apart. Nobody was in huddles. They weren't in, because who stands that close to anybody anyway? You don't ever stand arm in arm with people. That's just not what people do. So people were social distance until the police started their nonsense, at which point people went up to the cops to yell at them. And then people were closer than 6 feet. But again, I don't have a problem with that. I wasn't afraid. I don't feel like I'm going to get sick because I was around many people. And it was like a mosh pit at some point. So again, I'm assuming all these people will get sick and there'll be no protesters next weekend because everybody will die.
Exactly.
Hey, that girl.
When we don't die, they're still going to think there's a problem. It's going to be very frustrating.
The girl that got grabbed, that had the megaphone that wasn't working, that was just like screaming, and then they grabbed her and pulled her back.
Right.
I've seen her before. I'm remembering her from some other protest or something. If anyone can put some eyes on that, maybe the hive mind, as Mark says, can figure it out. She looks very familiar.
Yeah, her megaphone didn't work though, and I couldn't really understand what she was yelling. I mean, I guess if anybody seemed like a plant, it was her, because she was just spouting line. She wasn't even facing, trying to talk to them or anything. And there was a lot of people like that, but a lot of people just did as they were supposed to and took a step back. When I say supposed to, I don't mean that I think that you're supposed to. I told you a million times, nobody was doing anything wrong. Nobody was. But again, if somebody said, well, what about those people that are arrested, Jeran? Do you think that they broke the law? Well, if the law says you have to obey a police officer's orders, and I mean, what am I supposed to say? If that's the law and these guys weren't. Now, again, was there any reason for the police to be giving the order to step back? No, not in my mind. But the reason for that is because that crowd would have continued to grow, in my opinion. More and more people would have seen it online. A lot of people would have been in the area and would have shown up. And that's the last thing that they want, is a show of force. Isn't there a number? I don't know what the number is. Isn't it like 5,000 to 1 people versus police officers? Does that sound right?
That'd be a very large number, because I mean, how many police officers can any one area possibly afford?
Right. I think the number is 5,000. It might be more or less than that. I don't know where I heard that. It might have been in some documentary or something. But they can never let people realize that number. They just can't. I mean, it's a constant.
That's that line from The Ant and the Grasshopper.
What is that one?
I think it was Bug's Life, or one of those that the grasshoppers say, if those ants outnumber us, I forget what the number was, like 10,000 to 1. If they ever realize that our way of life is over,
right?
It's that concept, and that's again right in your face.
Yeah, it's right in your face, and they can just never allow people to realize where the power lies. And again, I mean, it's the same thing with government being meant to govern on behalf of the people, right? It's the same thing with the police. I mean, the police are paid for by our taxes because they're meant to, and I don't think anybody thinks that maybe you guys do. I don't know. Does anybody think that there's no need for police? I mean, I think that in a society, well, if somebody steals your bike, if somebody robs you, I don't know. I think you do need a certain police force, but not in the way it's designed now.
Well, honestly, if I was in charge of the police force, because I do think you need something like that, my what would you call it? My list of acceptable people would be far above what they take now. Like, your IQ would have to be really high. Your open-mindedness and capability to understand things would have to be really high. You cannot just be an order follower and somebody who's just going to shrug and say, I'm doing my job.
Did you know it's the opposite? That actually, if you have too high of an IQ, you can't become a police officer?
Sadly, I do know that. That's that's my big problem with it.
I don't think that we can have cops. I think that people should be human beings and deal with situations on a case-by-case basis as it comes up.
You can't because there's too many scumbags out there. I mean, the sad but true, there are evil creatures walking this planet like pedophiles. Right. I mean, that's just sad but true. It is.
Yeah, so men rise up to deal with it, but you don't need them to have uniforms and badges.
You're kind of talking about an anarchist kind of thing, and we're just not at that point in society. You couldn't tomorrow just shut off the police force, I don't think.
I understand that. I'm just speaking, ideally that would be great if people could just rule themselves.
That can work in smaller areas where people have integrity, like your kind of old west town kind of thing, where everybody knows everybody, and one person decides to be a complete shit. Sorry, you're getting strung up tomorrow. Don't fucking do that. It's gonna happen. But yeah, it's a different time, and everything is everything's different.
That's what's so sad, is that there is so many scumbags that the second there's an opportunity for someone to be taken advantage of, they will be taken advantage of. That's just
look. I saw it in business, let alone people with a true criminal mentality. I mean, I was around so many people just from a business level in the job I used to have, right. And I would see how people would take advantage of the other. Why? Because they could.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing with CVS as a store manager. I mean, if somebody didn't come and ask for a raise, I mean, do you think you ever reached out and said, "Hey, I want to give this person a raise"? It's not allowed. I mean, it's just little things like that. If you can take advantage of somebody at any point, they make sure that you do. You do take advantage of these people. You do work them to the bone. You do not give them benefits if you cannot give them benefits. There's just so many things, and it's everywhere. So you have to even look, and that's in a legal setting. I mean, where it's legal to do so. So imagine people that are just scumbags out there. I mean, it's sad to say, but if you don't lock your car, somebody's going to try and steal from you.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And that's a sad thing to say. And again, am I saying that that's the way I wish it was? No, of course not. And do I think that there's enough good of us out there that we could make a certain society, like you said, in a certain area, and maybe buy a certain group of land and we all police each other? Absolutely. And do I think people should have guns? I'm somebody who does. I think that you'd have a lot less. You wouldn't have people going in and robbing liquor stores if there was a fear that anybody in that liquor store could have a gun.
Look, if every single person was armed, do you seriously think some jackass would walk into the closest 7-Eleven and hold it up, knowing that anybody that walked in right afterwards could blow them away?
Never. No.
It wouldn't happen. I'm so pro-gun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I think that but then again, when saying that I'm pro-gun, it's like, well, do you need to have some sort of police force to take care of somebody that uses their gun unlawfully or in some wrong way? Well, I'm somebody who says, yeah, but I see the issue that Rose is having, that really you shouldn't have to have that police force because all the men should stand up and take care of that. But again,
well, that's just it. You shouldn't have to need it.
Right.
The problem is you probably do.
Right.
I hear you, Jason.
Yeah. Let me look at some of these super chats before I get ahead. Somebody says, if they're following event 201, how does it end? Well, I hate to think of the way it ends, but I think this becomes I went through the list of things in my head that this is furthering the agenda of. So the agenda at the end of this is just like 9/11. Look at all the atrocities that have happened since then based on a story about, these box cutter carrying Arabs. So it's the same thing. All the things that will change because of this. And I'd ask you guys, I asked everybody after the Monday Night Raw show, and after the Globebuster show, do you think you'll ever go into a store again and see somebody not wearing a mask? Do you see that future, or do you see a future where this is truly the new norm? And I'm not asking you what you hope for. I'm more asking you, do you think that a year from now, let's say a year from now, I'm not even talking at the end of the summer, I'm not even talking in 3 months, I'm talking a year from now, 12 months from now, do you think you'll be able to go into a grocery store and nobody will be wearing a mask? I don't think so.
I think it'll fade away if they don't keep reenacting it. Now, the one community that I just got firsthand information from who will probably keep doing it are the Asian community, because right. Lena Poo told Crow and I the other day when we were recording for the episode coming out this week that that's the way Asians are, but it's not a paranoia that they're going to get sick. It's a courtesy. Because right. The Asian mentality is so different than pretty much everybody else's. It's a courtesy that they don't want to get you ill, so they are keeping their germs to themselves, which I thought, of course, is very respectable, and yes, that sounds very Asian.
Yeah, and I see that going forward as well. I just see that as the new thing. People are going to say, okay, well, I don't want to sneeze on somebody else. I don't want to so I'm going to wear a mask, and then look at anybody else who's not wearing a mask and say, well, you're not being courteous of others. But again, what is the point of that? Well, I still think all these things that we mentioned are just furthering. And then again, this time it was crazy, right? When we heard, I made a video. I don't remember when it was. It got taken down. But I started the video with a mask on, and I was making a joke, like, we're all going to wear a mask now. And it was like, look what happened 2 months from there. Now it's required. I can't go to Costco. We can't. Dave's in a state that's the same way. You can't go out without a mask. You have to wear a mask in public. So I just think next time, let's say this does fade away. Well, in a year from now, they can just come out and say, oh, there's a new coronavirus out, and you'll see the same thing happen, but it will be instant. People will know how to react. People will, I don't mean in a good way, make sure you catch what I'm saying. People will react as they think is a fit, which I need to close down these businesses now. We need to close down schools. But how often can you do that now? Closing down schools? I mean, this is crazy. How many people have to depend on schools for daycare?
The daycares that are opening up in California, they're saying that the little kids are going to have to socially distance and wear face masks the entire time. Yeah, that's going to be healthy.
I saw a game of tag going on the other day, Dave, in a school that opened, and they were tagging each other's shadows. That's the new.
No way.
Oh, is that the new game?
Yep,
the
new game.
Fun.
That's out. Elon, step up the pace.
Yeah, we need to get these people to Mars.
I need to get to Mars.
Dave's ready to believe in Mars just so he can go there. This is great.
Yes.
AM1 says, do you guys have any thoughts or a position on Dr. Shiva and Buttar? I don't know. I mean, some of these doctors, I think, make good points, but on the same end, these guys were all trained by, the mainstream education. I mean, they believe in most of the virus is the way it's been taught. They believe in germ theory. They believe, I don't know. To me, I just think that they believe too much stuff that I don't think has backing.
Yep. Jaron, change the topic for a second. You missed a super chat from Joseph Paul. Did you see that one?
I haven't gotten to that one yet.
You found out, no, it was a while ago. Have you found out your baby's gender?
I have. And let's just say that
it has a very small penis.
No, it has a very large penis. Well, let's just say it has a penis. But it's funny because everybody that was asked all said it was a girl. And people did our star charts and said, here's what the stars say. And the moon was in Virgo. And it's going to be a girl. It was a female sign. So everything that came back, everybody said it was going to be a girl. And it is a boy. So I sent Dave a picture, a very cute picture.
Sometimes dinglings happen.
They do happen, yeah. So it's so if you guys have any name ideas, you want to hear my number one so far?
Yes.
Owen.
No.
Come on.
I like Maverick.
Maverick.
Ooh.
Yeah. Look at the definition of the word. Look at the
double
definition.
plus good, that.
Yes, I like that one. Earth First Space Later says, we have grown up hearing, may I take your order? Yeah, I guess so. But Dave, you don't like Maverick?
No, it's a cool name. I mean, my son's name is Camber, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, what made
you didn't like Simulated Space Studios either.
No, that's true. I shouldn't take his advice. I never got a chance to ask you, and I was telling Miss, and she goes, where did you come up with that? So that's you or your wife's idea?
So it was more my idea. But there was in a windsurfing sale, there's a camber inducer, and it was either that or skag, I told her. And the fin is called a skag. So we came up with Camber, but then we found out there's a trilogy of books about a superhero guy named Camber. So who knew?
And it's Camber?
Camber, yeah.
Yeah. I like it. And then your daughter's name?
Marina, like a boatyard.
Oh, I see the trend here. No, yeah. I didn't get it at first, but now if I understand, a camber is part of a sailboat?
There's a camber of a ski. There's a camber of a car. I know it from a windsurfing sail.
There's a camber in a wheelchair. There's a rating at which your wheels kind of bend inward, and they call it a camber.
There you go. Now you can think of my son.
Your son is always with me.
There you go.
And we have Jason sent a super chat and says, planned dollar collapse. Yeah, there's a million things I didn't mention that this pushes forward. So, all right, we'll take calls when we get back. Don't go anywhere. This is Jeran DITRH RAW, 213-233-3988. Get it line. Thank you.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
A cautious reopening. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The state of the epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic in the U.S. with some good news in the number of cases.
Governor Cuomo says the numbers, hospitalizations, intubations are heading downward, but there were still 226 deaths in the past day.
And this number is not declining anywhere nearly as fast as we would like to see it decline.
As other states move to reopen, Cuomo points to history, 1918, and that flu pandemic.
The places that opened too soon saw that flu come right back. And by the way, that flu was not one wave. That was 3 waves.
That drives his decision to reopen New York State in stages, not all at once, and only when CDC guidelines of 14 days of declining patient numbers is reached. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
West Virginia moving into phase 2 of its reopening plan. Governor Jim Justice saying he's prepared if there is a jump in cases.
If we see movement that is in a negative way, we're going to jump on it right then. I mean, we've got strike forces and everything else, and we'll roll back in a second if we have to.
West Virginia has seen just over 1,100 cases of the virus and 50 deaths. China is reporting 1 new case of the virus today, down from 3 yesterday. The National Health Commission claims the new case came from outside the country. They're also reporting 15 new asymptomatic cases, 2 more than yesterday. United Airlines has told employees it expects to cut management and administrative jobs by 30% starting in October. That's according to Reuters. United's among the airlines that accepted help from the federal government, which does not allow any job cuts until the end of September. The company says it's not likely demand for air travel will recover by then. America is listening to Fox News.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. Don't stick covered lies. Whispers from afar.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. It is May 4th, 2020. We'll be taking your calls here in a moment. 213-233-3998. I saw somebody in the chat says I should name my son Seven. The only person I ever knew named Seven was the Bundy's kid on the old Married with Children. So I don't know about that one. But Dave, is there any app updates you need to let us know about?
An app to update. There's a small little bug I'm fixing. The next update that's coming out for Android, which is already out on iOS, reduces the number of pop-ups. You only get one pop-up. And again, you can make that go away by going into settings and turning that off. And we reduce the size a little bit of the actual file. It makes no difference to you. It just will take up less space on your phone. So that's
I have a question about the app.
Sure.
How many people do you think actually have it? Do you get a running tally? And what do you think is keeping people from getting it? I mean, I don't really see anything even remotely as good or even playing in the same ballpark as what you're doing.
Just not knowing about it. There's groups of flat earthers out there that we're unaware of. We're not all connected as we think. Just today, the video I put on the app today had over 500,000 views, and I was like, how? And it was out over 2 weeks ago, and I was like, how come I haven't seen this? And I sent it to maybe 15 people. Like, have you seen this? I sent it to you, Jeran. I sent it to just everybody, and nobody has saw it in our flat Earth realm. So. Because I don't want to put on the app if everyone saw it except me.
That was the one with allegedly Dave's son?
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was him. I'm like, where do I know this guy from? He speaks well, and I thought it was very good. But what is stopping people from getting it? It's just not knowing about it. I would say that's it. And the number of people that accept. Oh, that's another thing I want to tell you. The push notifications. A lot of people don't realize that they can get a notification and they could actually see the notification without reading it. If you just go into your settings, go into notifications, go to FE clock and say, show preview while phone is closed. That way you can see what the video is without clicking it. And that way you know if you want to click it. But of course you want to click it. Everybody loves good flat Earth content.
Absolutely. I think, and again, Jason, it's funny because I saw a lot of people. There was one guy who came up to me and said, I really need help. I go to the farmer's market every week to talk about flat Earth, and I really need help talking to people. What would you suggest? I said, well, do you show him the app? He's like, what app? I'm like,
right. Well, there you go. So, yeah.
And that's another thing, in our group, most of the flat earthers I know have it, and that's great. But as I've been saying, I really thought about this. Nothing, especially with what's happening where, we're losing, our old friends left and right because they're just not ready for the truth. You do have some friends, you do have some family members that are kind of interested in flat Earth. Give them the app, have them take the challenge, watch a video every day for 2 weeks, and you can gift it to them, or you just convince them to get it. Either way, that supports me, that supports you, that supports the whole movement. I think the app can make a huge difference. Right now, I can tell you how many people are accepting the push notifications, and that number is just over 30,000. So, when I do a push notification, 30,000 people are getting it. So we have a powerful tool here that that I want that number to be way bigger. But it's a great tool for waking people up. So I don't feel bad pushing the app at every opportunity because the app, in my mind, is the greatest tool to wake people up with. If you don't have time to sit with them for hours on end that they're willing to do. Every day, watch a video in the morning, think about it, watch one the next morning, and the same thing happens. Once they start watching them, they dive into the archives, and then it's all over.
It's the beginning of the end.
You hit that archive button, your globe is gone. Gonzo.
Another super chat from Gorilla Forilla says, Jeran, how about Magnus Vermagnuson? Oh, for a name. That makes sense coming from Gorilla Forilla. Now, I was thinking multiplexer, demultiplexer, but now probably not going to go with those names. But thank you for the super chat.
With any name, you always have to consider something really important. How is that child going to be treated by other children?
Yeah. And do you have to also check so Joe Mama says he thinks you should name him Joe Mama. Thanks, Joe. I don't think he'd be treated very well if it was Joe Mama. You'd get a lot of Joe Mama jokes. But anyway, we got a lot of time to figure that out.
Hey. And Rose, why don't you tell the audience about what we're doing tomorrow?
Ooh, okay. So 6 p.m. Eastern. My friend from YouTube, we met on YouTube in 2006, and we've been friends ever since, met in person and everything. She's a hardcore science fanatic, and luckily nothing will ever compromise our friendship. And she's very intelligent, but she thinks that flat Earth is nonsense. She heard about me and Kelsey, and she wants to talk to David.
And she's serious. She's
serious.
Yeah.
She knows who you are. She saw the thumbnail
does.
and she's like, I have seen his videos. So I'm scared, David, but I know we're going to be okay.
You know what? I've been scared before, but it's the same thing every time. I love this that she thinks flat Earth is stupid, so stupid that she's probably not going to prepare. I think the ball is so stupid, I'm not going to prepare. It's going to be amazing.
I think it will be a great conversation. It'll be way different than Kelsey. Both are going to be great. Both are great, but different. And I'm really looking forward to it because she's going to come with the thoughts that she's had about this over the last couple of years. I think it was maybe 3 years ago that she had a discussion with Jason about the moon landing. And just to give you a frame of reference, she totally buys that we went to the moon. So that's what we're working off of.
Oh boy.
Silence.
It's such a hard litmus test. Oh boy. It's like when I'm trying to talk to a friend about what's going on with this COVID thing, and they bring up Boston, and I'm like, really, really, the whole Boston thing. If you can look at the facts of Boston and not realize, Boston, they had a drill of a bomb going off at the finish line during the race. Did you know that? Of course, we all knew that. That Jeff Bowman, who was like 30 feet away, had both of his legs blown off from above the knee, but the Nike banner that was closer on a fence didn't get a single hole in it, nor did the cup with the plastic cup, the table with plastic cups of beer on it, get knocked over. I mean, that alone,
poppycock.
Yeah, that alone tells you that people got their pants blown off them into shreds, but not a scratch on their legs.
Dave, there was a lady. I don't know if you've seen this. There's a girl that supposedly had her leg blown off from the knee down.
Yeah.
And she had a son that sat right next to her and was fine. You know about this girl?
I forget her name. She was a dancer, I think.
She's a blonde girl, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, she was on some game show that I saw the other day. It's called The Wall. And it's so funny. At the beginning, they bring her out, and she's got her little peg leg, and her husband comes out, and he's talking about what an inspiration she is and everything that she's been through since the Boston bombing. And he says, she went through 67 surgeries. I fell off the couch. I had to go out in the garage and get a breather. I'm like, 67 surgeries? And she just had her leg blown off from the knee down. How do you have 67 surgeries? At what point would you go in and think the doctors aren't quite doing the right job? At what point do you have to ask the question, like, do I really need another surgery? I mean, after like 6 surgeries, wouldn't you be like, well, what exactly are we doing here? And we're talking about just from the knee down.
Did you or did you not remove my leg? How hard is this? Do I need to draw you a little cut here sign? I mean, what's going on here?
Surgery number 12, wouldn't you start asking some questions like, all right, can we get a different doctor in here? I think that we probably shouldn't. At surgery 26, don't you think there was a problem that something's not going right?
I got a cut in my shin a bunch of years ago, and I left a trail of blood back to my home that literally stayed on the road for like a week. It was like blood was everywhere. My shoe was soaked. Jeff Bowman had his legs blown off from the above the knee, laid on the ground for 20 minutes with nobody helping him. And then when they finally got to him, they put him upright in a wheelchair and wheeled him down the road past the TV cameras where no blood was coming out.
And he's conscious.
And he's conscious.
They've never heard of shock.
And he had a look on his face like, I wonder if there's pizza in that tent.
And there probably was, water. Just like at Sandy Hook.
But we're insensitive bastards for even suggesting this. It's unbelievable. Just one quick thing, then we'll take the phone calls. Hopefully there's people lining up.
For the YouTube censors, this is comedy. We're joking around.
I took the photos of his legs and some other injuries, and I brought it to our orthopedic. We have a huge orthopedic practice in my town. Big people come from all over the country to go here, and I got a couple of the doctors to look at it. They're like, "Oh, that is not real. That is movie set. This that." And then one of them goes, "Wait, is this the Boston bombing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh yeah, it's real." And they totally changed their story.
Right.
Not that they were shills.
They did.
That they just made. They're like, "Oh, the arteries pulled in and retracted on their own." And I'm just like, I gotta go to Mars.
And then she was telling stories like, "Oh, and I always lose my foot, and my husband is so gracious to go find it for me." And it's like, what the? And then she's like, "I took my foot in one time to have it readjusted, and the doctor took it off, and some French fries fell out." And then she goes, "These are things you just can't make up. These are stories you just can't make up." I'm like, "No, you just made them all up." Oh boy, it's too funny. I'll actually record that, Dave, and send it to you just so you can laugh. Because when he says she's had 67 surgeries, I almost lost my mind. But we're joking. This is all comedy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, sorry.
Sandy Hook, Dr. Carver, all very, very real things you need to do your own research on. What else were you going to say? You said you wanted to say something else before we...
No, that's it. Let's take some calls.
All right, I haven't looked at how many people were lined up. Oh, we got quite a few. Good. All right, let's start off in Quebec. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. What's up? Hello.
Well. Yes. Great show tonight, once again. Two things I would like to bring up regarding what's happening. I decided to get involved politically by joining the Constitutional Sheriff and Peace Officer Association. We're trying to start a division here in Quebec because we have no constitution. Our rights are being laughed at. I mean, it's a terrorist attack by Big Pharma, but also the communists. So, and I just listened to Pete Santelli tonight, and he had one of my favorite guests. His name is John Guandolo. He's being shadow banned like you can't imagine because he's exposing the threat of the invasion of Islam. And strangely, these people are also for 5G, and with their Neom City in Saudi Arabia, they want to have, artificial intelligence running the place with, drones and everything. So there's a multi-pronged attack on everybody, and we need to get involved to protect our rights. And the constitutional sheriffs are the key because when you meet with these, fucked up police agents who are going full communist, you need to put the constitution in their face, and that's a protection. So and today, funnily, when I got involved last Friday with this sheriff organization, today I got a call from a guy who wants to get involved in the sheriff association, and he seemed to be quite open-minded. And I said, "What do you think of flat Earth?" And he's on our side. The guy's a flat earther, and he wants to get involved. He wants to put his life on the line to defend our liberty, because in Quebec it's completely Chinatown. I mean, it's like we've been rolled out what they've done in China in 2 months. I don't recognize my city. I'm blind, okay? When I go to the drugstore, I just want to get back here. I mean, I'm horrified by what's happening. And if I was still seeing something, I would have a gun on myself for sure. So, we need to rise up because it's the final confrontation. And so I encourage everybody to get involved with their constitutional sheriff, find one in your local area, and we need to go after these suckers and expose the lies. So, I think that the flat earthers are the most open-minded people. You have lots of courage, facing the biggest lies. So, thanks for being there. You're my favorite party, and I want to get very close to you. So screw social distancing. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, Daniel. All right, Daniel Beck always calls in with some good information, and I totally agree. It seems like the whole system in communist China is kind of what I don't know if that's like the world ideal or the NWO ideal. I don't know if that's what they're trying to bring. I don't know, and I don't know what else we can do than just stand up and say no. It seems like maybe those protests helped because supposedly Newsom's coming out, I don't know, in the coming days with relaxed restrictions. But again, I was telling Dave this earlier, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, and it may just be me, and they may have captured me in this whole thing, but I find myself wanting to go back to the way it was before so bad, but even that was slavery. But it's like I find myself saying, no, please let me go back to the slavery I was in before. Do you guys find yourself thinking that at all? Or am I alone?
Oh, yeah. Just like thinking about before 9/11. I mean, there's a lot of corruption in the 90s, but it just seems so... I mean, you know how American Psycho is about something terrible, but you kind of look back and it's like, those are the good moments of the... What was it supposed to take place in the 80s? Just all of the... People were worried about their business card color. Let's go back to that for a day.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get back to it, and again, and then we can fight from there to get further back. But I don't know. It seems like every time all these liberties are taken away from us, you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I don't know if you ever get back to where you were. And I guess the better way to say that would be you take 2 steps back, then 1 step forward. Sorry, probably confused people with that analogy. Let's go to the 604. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Hello, 604. Yeah, you're on. What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Speak a little bit louder. Tough to hear.
Hey, what's going on? Big time fan, first time caller.
All right, what's
nervous to talk. Just want to say I love you guys. Love listening to the show every Monday, and maybe I'll call some other time when I'm not so nervous.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate the call. Appreciate the listen. Let's go to 707. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hi, this is Mark from Santa Rosa.
What's up, Mark in Santa Rosa?
Listen, you recall the NASA whistleblower who was then killed by the NASA train?
Yeah.
I think NASA's done a good job by creating COVID-19 just so you guys won't talk about flat Earth anymore, and they've done a good job.
Hello. Dave thinks that's the case. Absolutely.
And they're thumbing their nose in our face every time we hear them compare flattening the curve to COVID-19 and saying flat Earth is as bad as COVID-19.
Yeah, no, I totally.
That's all I think.
Thanks so much for the call. I know Dave agrees with you big time, and Dave, sometimes I question whether or not, how we say that they need to tell us what they're doing. Sometimes I question that, and I'm wondering if it's not that they need to, but they get off on being able to.
I think there's a little bit of both in there. Like I watched Tucker Carlson on Fox. He's been doing some really good reports, but telling the truth. And I think that's part of their, letting off steam or karmic release or whatever you want to call it. They're telling us the truth. They're telling us in all different ways.
Yeah,
this way, they could say, "We told you. We told you. What are you talking about?"
And they know that 10% of us out there are going to know what's going on, and so they just they're able to say it. It's like a rubbing in your face. It's like, well, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. I think it's a very powerful position to take when you're able. I mean, it's hard enough to rob somebody. I mean, imagine if you're able to go into their house and say, "Hey, I'm going to steal from you," and the person just can't do anything about it. That'd be a very powerful feeling for some psychopath. Not for me, of course, but Earth First Space Later says, "We're programmed, how can I take your order, not how can I serve you?" Big difference in human psychology. Love you all. Yeah, quite a big difference. Let's go to 214. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, guys. It's Alex from Dallas. And Jeran, I just want to say I live in Dallas, Maverick. I don't know if Maverick's that good. They're going to call him Mav or Rick. You need to name him Iru or Landucci. That's my recommendation. And then I have 2 quick things.
I do like Mav, though.
Landucci. I love Landucci. I mean,
yeah, I'll second that.
Probably my favorite flat earther.
How about Jesuit?
I love Jesuit. That's or Pope Jean Paul. Why don't you call him Jean Paul?
Yeah, I'll pass. Thank you.
Okay. Let me get my 2 things I want to say, because one's so stupid. So on Vice today, there's an article that they found a space rock from Mars, and that the rock has the secret to life in it, and that's from NASA. They found it in Antarctica. So I mean, it just stuff like that makes me sick. And then this is my other thing. when it comes to COVID and all this BS, there's only one thing that actually scares me, and like it actually kind of keeps me up at night, is that this is obviously a drill. All the fake hospitals that they build, all the accoutrement with this disease, the social distancing, the guidelines. This is just a test to see if we would do it to ourselves, and then they're going to have the contact tracing app. And once we do that to ourselves, you know, like we say, they make us hang ourselves. They give us a rope. Right. Everybody's going to download the app, and then they're going to have us hooked, and then they're going to actually release something that kills us, and that's when people are going to go to their bunker. That's when they're going to go to Denver International Airport. That's what I'm worried about, is they're going to actually do something, and then we're going to be idiots because there's going to be cops, there's going to be school teachers. We're going to try to help each other, but all the elites will be gone. So that's why there's makeshift stuff. We'll be up there and think that we're actually doing something to help ourselves, but really there will be something that will kill us.
Yeah,
you guys have the same fear is my question.
Anybody have a comment on that?
It's like 9/11, guys. They blew up the Trade Center before in '93 it's all predictive programming. You know, they did the test, guys. The test is we're locked and loaded. They know that we will fall in line at the snap of their fingers. So now they just want to do the real one so they can protect themselves. So now they know how the hell to get out of Dodge before they can get affected by. I don't know what they're going to release. Obviously, we don't have any idea, but I just when I see all these drills, when we hear about Boston, I know these drills go live. I'm just saying this was a drill that they decided to go live. The news picked it up and the media ran with it. Because I got tested for COVID and I got negative, but the test also tested for SARS. It tested for multiple illnesses. So I don't understand how they could pinpoint COVID unless they're looking under a microscope. So it's all BS. We know that. I'm just afraid of why would they do this drill and make it live if they weren't going to do it in the future, is my thoughts.
Well, it reminds me of a Crow episode. I don't remember the number, but you usually round up a herd for a reason. You know?
Yeah. Oh, hey, and last thing.
That'd be show number 127.
No, only Rose.
No, that's 127 is with Marty Leeds, David.
Boom. Boom. Boom.
I do have a comment.
Hey, I love your work, guys. You guys are my favorite. I listen every Monday. Thank you, Dave. I got the app. And Jason, I love you guys. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Have you gifted the app to anybody? Has anybody gifted the app to anybody?
Hey,
yes, I have.
I want to say this. I just flat smacked my mom, and she thinks I'm a kook, but she definitely does not believe that we're on a spinning ball that's perpetually moving. Because the idea of perpetual movement in an orbit, like Owen Benjamin said, there'd be 4 times where we'd have to speed up and slow down. How could we not feel that? I mean, I'm not talking about the spin, but the fact that we're moving against the Earth, and there's times we slow down and speed up, and we don't even feel that. Nothing changes. Yet an earthquake, a 2-magnitude earthquake shakes the crap out of everything. It's BS. We know that. And the science is on our side. The problem is we're fighting against the government and the elitists. That's our problem. The science is on our side. It's everything else that we're fighting against is what's going to be the tough battle.
You're fighting against indoctrination. You're fighting against education. And Alex, appreciate the call. You're always a great caller. I did just get a Venmo from somebody who says, have you heard the newest scary thing, murder hornets? I did hear that today.
Oh, dude, I wanted to bring that up. That is everywhere.
You know where that's from, right?
I'm seeing it all day long. There's something to it. You remember we had the killer bees that were coming from Argentina one year.
I thought that was just a funny meme that wasn't related to actual things that they're talking about.
Rose, I saw it 15 times today.
I saw it in memes, and I thought it was just people joking to be ironic.
No?
Yeah, but you know where they're getting that crap from, don't you? Those are the freaking Hunger Games.
Murder hornets were?
They were called, what were they? They were wasps of some kind, but it was just like that. Great big things that they were all afraid of. Let me see. Hunger Games. I'll Google it real quick for you guys. But yes, that's where they're getting it from. It's another.
Are they trying to scare people from not even going out for a walk now?
Tracker Jacker.
I'm scared.
Why do they want you in the house so damn bad?
Because they don't want us looking up at the sky.
Well, I can definitely tell you they've been doing installs while we've been hiding out. Of course, I'm not hiding out. I go out every freaking day. Rose and I like sushi, so you know.
Can I just get this out before it becomes too irrelevant? But 214 was the one where he was talking about Roundup. It was the genetically modified organism, episode 214.
Thank you. All right, guys, we'll be right back for your phone call. Don't go anywhere. This is Jeranism.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured TruthFrequencyRadio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality. Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up. Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. You know, I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. You know, I'm a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code TALK to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code TALK.
Dowsing is the ancient science of finding water and metal underground. Albert Einstein said that dowsing was tapping into earth energies which modern science as yet does not understand. Diamonds, silver, gold, and platinum objects have all been found using dowsing. And now, for the first time on film, we visit the pyramids, Stonehenge, and ancient sites, dowsing for buried treasure and tapping into this mysterious earth energy.
The Enigma Channel. Intelligent television for planet Earth. EnigmaTV.com.
You are now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. This is Jeranism Monday Night Raw. I didn't mention the support options. Obviously, if you want to support the show, that would be greatly appreciated. If you want to support Crow and Jason and everything they do, please either rent the movie, Shoot the Moon on Vimeo. You can also obviously sign up for crow777radio.com, which is CRROW777 radio. You can support Dave with the app, of course, and also Dave has a Patreon, so do I, patreon.com/Jeranism. patreon.com/DITRH. Rose, is there any way people can support you, or is it through Jason's support options?
Yes, I have my channel, Rose777, but if you're here, you probably already know about Grow 777. And the whole purpose of my channel is to hang out and hopefully just promote the show and get more people to it.
And the show we're doing tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern is on the Rose 777 channel. Check it out. The show's already up. Go in there, like it, share it, and we'll have a blast.
Are you guys doing any simulcast on DLive?
Would you like to simulcast it?
I could if you want.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, that would be awesome. Do it on your channel.
Good, I'm all for that. All right, let's do it.
Right on.
Yeah, no, I like to support DLive. I like to get DLive up there because I don't know how long we're going to last in other places. Yeah, seems like to have somewhere to fallback option is good. So yeah, support the shows, obviously.
Patricia Steer said in the chat that David Icke says we live in the Hunger Games Society, or Hunger Games Society, and murder hornets make perfect sense.
That's it. Yeah.
What are they supposed to do? Kill all the bees? Is that what I've seen? Or do they kill people?
What are you more afraid of when you go outside? Murder hornets or stupid people wearing masks?
I'm certainly not scared of murder hornets, I'll tell you that much.
I think stupidity is a bigger threat.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
God, it's exhausting.
Couldn't you just swat a murder hornet away? Anyway. 530, you're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
Hey, Jeran. It is William from just up north of you a bit.
What's up, William? Yeah, I remember meeting you. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm a little bummed out. There was no meetup this year, only a protest that I did not go to. But just before I ask you my question for you, I did have two things really fast for David. And hello, everybody else. David, you had asked a couple times that bright star, everyone's not sure if it's Venus or not. So because of all the free nights I've had, because there's no church, I went and downloaded a star map app, and that is Venus, that bright.
Yeah.
It's Venus. And then the next star that appears is Sirius, which is very, very dim, but it's the next one that appears. And I did it like 5 nights in a row. Venus is first, and then Sirius. And you can hardly see Sirius, but that. And then you asked last week, what do I respond to somebody if they ask me where my mask is? And I wanted to tell you my response. If they ask me where my mask is, I tell them I don't need one. And then, of course, they're going to ask, well, why don't you need one? And I tell them, well, I already got the COVID vaccine. I got the shot. And I'm like, yeah, do you want it? Do you want one? And if they say yes, then I grab them by the wrist and I go with my finger, circle, circle, dot, dot. Now you have the COVID shot. COVID isn't real. Wake up! I wouldn't yell at them. That's not very loving. I did that just for comic effect right now. But, yeah, they literally got us believing cooties is real. How's it not different than cooties, this COVID?
No different.
That's great. So I do have a report. Somebody told me that the hospital up above where I live, and I'll give the city Reading, supposedly one wing got shut down and has been shut down since this whole thing started off. It's been sealed up. The regular staff can't go in and out, but the people who do go in and out are totally covered. They're wearing masks, the bonnets, the gloves. No one would ever know who they are. And when they show up, they come in unmarked vehicles with no license plates. So that's the report. And if that's the case, I think that other caller was right. Something's going to go down. No doubt about it. They're just lining everything up and seeing who maybe is going to be a problem. That's just my theory. I don't know what you think about that. And any thoughts on that?
They're gonna take it as far as we let them.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think the protests are a good idea. I've heard a lot of comments. They don't think it's a good idea. People shouldn't protest. But I think you have to stand up and say something, because you're right, Jason, that they're going to take this as far as we let them. And then I think next time they bring this up, it'll just be quicker for everybody to react in exactly the way that they want. in the way that they have planned. So let's go 213. You're on with Jeranism on the Air. How's this? 213, we hear you.
Oh, hi.
213. Going once, going twice. Okay, you don't want to talk. 843. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey guys, how are you tonight? I guess you're doing well. It's Mark from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Not much has changed for me except I'm annoyed a lot more, and I think I've reached like a depression, from all this stupid stuff. I don't think anything's going to roll back, they're always kind of constantly push it further. I don't know what to do. I've tried to wake people up to all this stuff for 5-6 years, and I just don't have much luck. I mean, I woke up, you guys woke me up to flat earth, so it can be done, but I don't know, man. I don't want to, like, the one guy was talking about them releasing a real virus. I don't even know how I feel about viruses. I watched that Globe Buster video today about the, I think that this thing was created just for an excuse for 5G. So when they start turning that on everywhere, that people will be getting sick and they'll be like, yep, there it is, there it is, there it is. These things are always like multifaceted. They've got every agenda going, like I've heard you guys say before. It's just, I don't know. Cheer me up.
I appreciate the call. I don't know how to cheer you up because I think annoyed is a great way to describe it. I don't know how else to say it. I'm annoyed, and you're right. I don't think they'll. I hate to say it. I don't know if things will ever go back to the way they were before. I certainly hope so, but I don't know what good hope does. We'll have to see. One can hope. We got to stand up. We got to speak out. Continue doing what we're doing. I tell people all the time, create a channel, make a podcast, talk about it with family and friends, gift the app, subscribe to these channels that are doing good work. And isn't that the best we can do?
My previous comment stands.
Which was?
They'll take this as far as we let them, even with what's going to be normal again.
Right. Yeah, I just think that they have such a unique way of hypnotizing people into doing exactly what they want. And that's, an earlier caller said that we hang ourselves. And you've got people clamoring now for the vaccine. They want the vaccine. When's the vaccine going to be done? Just think about how ridiculous that is to have a vaccine come out so quick when it hasn't been tested on any people. It's just so stupid.
Think about how much they were pushing the flu shot super hard. Like just the past couple of years, it seemed like they ramped that up massively. They've got shot in everybody's head. Then there was that one awards show not too long ago where the two dipshit poop cracker eaters were up there going shot, and giving it to people in the audience that were also celebrities, and not all of them looked happy about that. They've got everyone completely brainwashed about vaccines.
I have a conversation with a former close friend or whatever you want to call it. They're like, where did you get your medical degree on vaccines? Are you some sort of doctor? Well, in the last 3 weeks, I've watched both of Ty Bollinger's 9-part series where he went around the world interviewing doctors with real-world experience, each episode over an hour, some of them 2 hours. So I watched all of those. I watched Vax. Now, again, watching movies, is that education? Absolutely. These are college course levels of information. I've read articles. I've read vaccine inserts. I've listened to many doctors, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, many of her interviews. She's a well-experienced vaccine doctor, and I contend that is far more information than doctors learn in medical school about vaccines. What do they learn in school about vaccines? The information that they get from the vaccine companies, and they also learn that if they vaccinate their entire practice, they get a giant bonus. That's what they know. They don't know that there's aborted baby cells in vaccines.
Yeah, they don't know what the ingredients are. Jason went to a doctor and asked if the vaccine had mercury in it, and the doctor said no. And then Jason took the box out of the trash can and saw it said thimerosal on it. Right, Jason?
100% correct. After I got dissed to my face that, no, they took that out. And was like, really? Oh, this says thimerosal.
Right.
What do I know? I'm just a long-haired guitar player.
It's unbelievable. People say, well, where'd you get your degree? Your degree is if you're able to repeat what they tell you. Doing what we do is far more informative. I'm sorry to say it, but it is. I mean, I've been studying vaccines for well over a decade. Okay? Doctors don't study them. They're just told what they do. They don't.
Well, doctors follow the playbook, for better or worse.
Yeah. How dare you? Oh, I didn't see. We've got Bob on the line. 303. Bob, you there?
Hello.
Hello.
I didn't know you were on hold. My bad.
That's okay. I've just been kicking back, hanging. I had to listen to the first part of the show because our internet has been out all day long.
Huh.
Oh.
Interesting.
So now, and I wanted to tell you about this because I don't think I mentioned this on the show, but I had a friend who is he's a level 3 technician that works for CenturyLink here in Denver, and he was telling me that they are being instructed to set up the networks, the internet, so that they can be taken down either locally in the city, regionally, or statewide or regionally within an hour. And so today, Denver Comcast has been down in several parts of the city, several parts of the country for like 8 hours. And this is part of that, what they're doing. They're preparing so that they can actually take down sections of the internet soon.
What do you mean take down, Bob? Just like turn it off remotely, that type of thing?
That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what they're prepping for, so that they can turn it off, like I said, either locally, statewide, or regionally, and they have to be able to do it within an hour, according to him.
Wow.
Like an outage, a planned outage, or just it's off until further notice?
Yeah, a planned outage. And of course, you think about that, and that's kind of scary because what are they going to do? So for example, they decide they need to shut down Denver or the entire Denver metro area, or maybe even the entire state of Colorado. Why would they want to do that? And why do they need to do that for within an hour?
Bob, what if some really bad information was about to get out that would be dangerous to the public? They needed to protect us from this bad information.
Wow. Because usually they need us to watch the media.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah, that's got to be it. Can't be anything bad. But and it sucks not having internet all day long. And of course, then I tried to tether off of my mobile phone, and because everybody was doing that, the mobile phone was completely worthless. I mean, there was just no internet access. It gridlocked.
Right. I've had it happen here before. Almost couldn't go live for a Raw show because they did the same thing. And if that starts popping up around, I don't know what people would do without internet. I mean, how would we? You certainly can't gather for protests if you don't know they're taking place.
Think about this. All of our relationships. We barely have each other's non-internet addresses. Right. If the internet goes down, like, see you, Jeran. Nice knowing you, Bob.
Nice to meet you. Yeah,
I know.
Jason who?
Yeah, it's just crazy. So I just thought everybody should be aware that apparently it takes a long time to do this because they have to make router changes and stuff like that. So I'm just saying people need to be cognizant of extended outages. And when there is an extended outage, search around. There are internet sites that will tell you what parts of the country are down, and you can actually look at that. But I think if people are aware of what to look for, we can watch this and track it as it's happening. And I don't know what good it's going to do us, to be honest with you. I have been prompted to buy. I've got a ham radio, and we're going to get a mobile antenna and put it on my Expedition so that if the internet goes down, at least I'll be able to get on the ham radio. But not everybody has that option. But for whatever reason, they're planning on taking away segments of the internet at planned times. So people just need to be aware of that.
All right, thanks, Bob. I'll leave you on the line if you want to keep listening. Hope you get your internet back soon. Say it again. Sorry, lost you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it just came on about an hour ago, so you can hang up.
All right, thanks, Bob. Talk to you soon. Let's go to 360. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, it's everyone's favorite Dottie in Flat Earth.
Hey, Dottie.
Hi.
I love your Facebook group.
Oh, I'm so glad you're in it. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've just been like sucking at making my my plant streams on Fridays just because my son is out of school and they're like just every schedule is completely different right now. But I'm about to do story time on my channel, so if you guys have been listening to the other chapters of the book, I'm about to do another chapter of that. But yeah, trying to get back into my plant streams, but I'm glad to have the gardening group at least. But I just wanted to let you guys know of one thing that is like super annoying me that I've been seeing in Seattle. So I still deliver for Amazon, and there have been these signs popping up in like kids parks that have trails in them and stuff, and it's just completely shaming people. Like the sign literally says, crowded parks led to closed parks, and we will be monitoring the parks and we will close them again if they get too crowded. And like I keep seeing on like children's parks, and I'm just like, so what are you saying? Like children are responsible for this nonsense sickness? Or like, it's just, the way that it's worded just annoys the crap out of me so much. Like, oh, how dare you have too many people in this park? We will close them again if you dare and do that again. And I'm just like, screw you. Like, who are you to say what is too crowded? And like, that's just one thing I've noticed.
Dottie, they're the health
lately.
Professionals that know what's best for us. You must listen to them.
We must, yeah, exactly.
Say something that goes against the WHO, then don't listen to them. It's only approved storylines that are allowed.
It's so infuriating.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dottie. I'm going to let you go because we've got a lot of callers. I'm not going to get to them all, but appreciate the call. Let's try and see how many we can get to. How about 610? You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. What's up?
Jeran.
Hey, how's it going?
It's AJ from PA.
What's up, AJ from PA?
Hi, Jeran. I just want to thank you guys. You are an inspiration to me. You, Jason, Dave, Rose, Bob, if you're still there. I just want to thank you and tell you that I wanted to cry when I heard Dave. You said something earlier about being frustrated with your neighbors, and it almost made me cry. Tears of relief because, when I feel like I've been wasting a lot of time in the last couple of weeks. People actually, the cop-out for most people is that they don't have time to look at this kind of stuff, right? They don't have time to research it. But now people have the time to look at the truth. And I was on the phone with a guy that I've known for 20-plus years and trying to drop little truth bombs. We were talking about 5G. I listened to the Globebusters episode yesterday, and the conversation pretty much ended like, man, they got you, man. I think they got you. And he's telling me, he doesn't want to look at anything I'm talking to him about. So I know at this point I got more luck, talking to waking up a stranger off the street than a loved one or a family member, whatever. And it's really discouraging. I just want to tell you, man,
you just have to know that some people aren't meant to wake up, and you have to recognize it. But it's really tough when it's somebody close to you that just won't buy it, and I wasn't even trying to wake her up. She just, she and others and then them just looked at our posts and won't watch the videos, won't watch them, but sees the title and gets mad at us.
Yeah, it's tough. I told Dave earlier, my sister's birthday's coming up on May 18th, which is still 2 or 3 weeks away. And I was talking to her about, let's do something for your birthday. What do you want to do? She goes, I don't know. I think it's too early. I'm like, well, no, I mean, I know we can't go to a restaurant or something, but I mean, let me, you want to come over here? I'll go over there. No, I don't know if it's really safe to be around each other. It's like, holy smokes. Pretty depressing. Let's go to 318. You're on the air. What's up? 318. Gonna make it quick. All right. How about 773? You're on the air. 773.
Hey, what up, guys? So I was going to say, in line with that last caller, that I think that there's a psychological component that, people are so emotionally attached to the mainstream narrative that we're never going to break through to them immediately. It's all about planting seeds and that whole thing, But the other thing, I think we have to know our numbers, too. And that's why I made that video a couple weeks ago that Matt from Quantum of Conscience picked up with the rice, because I think if you could visually see things, it gives you a better understanding of exactly, the numbers here. Because sometimes people can't exactly envision what it is without seeing it.
No,
so,
when you hear 50
David Weissman.
People lose their minds. But if you see it with the rice, and great video, by the way, when you see that video, it really shows you in perspective.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of times people actually need to see it visually in order to actually be able to comprehend these numbers. Because, when you keep hearing in the news, 40 people die here, 50 people die here, people are picturing that in their day-to-day life, but they can't fathom how big 8 billion people, how big of a number that actually is. So,
right.
Again, for 8 billion people, 1 grain of rice is 100,000 people. So you got 80,000 grains of rice that aren't getting killed by this, and we're up to 2 grains of rice now. So, it's nothing that we should all be in pure panic mode over.
No, appreciate the call so much. I'm going to try and get one more call in. How about 819? You're on the air. Maybe not. 819.
Hello?
There you go. What's up?
Yeah, 819. Hello?
You're on. Go.
Yeah, how's it going? I'm from Canada.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm from Gatineau. I've been a flat earther for almost a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it quite obvious that the earth is flat. Imagine that, eh? And, unreal. I first got the hint that it wasn't spinning. But I figured that one out, then I figured it's flat. Wow. Not even funny how obvious it is. And try to wake up some people, forget about it. Anyway, in Gatineau, and in the sky, there's a spotlight, man, and it ain't Venus or a thingamajig. And next to it, I think it's drones. So I just wanted to put that in, and I live on the border of Ontario and Quebec. They closed down the border during the day from 6 o'clock in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. And after that, you can cross the border.
I hate to cut you off, but if I leave you on, then you'll be on for the rest of the show. So sorry about that, and sorry to everyone we didn't get to your calls. Anybody want to say anything before we go?
Hey, I did look at Venus last night, and I zoomed in, and it was a half phase, like the moon. Anyone else see that?
Mm-mm.
I've never zoomed in.
I saw it right in the sky, but that was it.
So Venus has phases like the moon. So, there goes Martin Kenny's thing saying that Venus is a moon and Mars is a sun. Can't rule it out, but don't know. It was it definitely looked like a more distant moon.
Have you tried looking at Starlink yet?
I have not tracked the Starlink yet. The weather just hasn't been so great here, but I need to get on that. What about that? Just real quick, we're going to lose time, but what about the possibility that Starlink is literally just lights being pulled behind an aircraft to on a schedule that within 10 minutes, give or take, just to make us not know what the heck to think.
I love that idea, but I like it being on a fixed track better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to see. I still haven't seen it exactly the way that it's portrayed.
Yeah, hey, I need to see what we saw on all those videos. I need to see it with my own eyes.
What about looking at Starlink with night vision goggles?
Yeah, love to see that. Good idea.
All right, guys, it's been fun. Talk to you.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Jeranism RAW with Jeran and Missa, Fearless with Frank Castle, Strange World with Mark Sargent, The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray, Ironworks with Josh Corey, The Kev Baker Show, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any phone by dialing 641-793-7117.
Okay.
Or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Evidence mounting. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. An intelligence report indicates there may be some truth to the accusation by President Trump and members of the administration that COVID-19 originated in a lab in China.
The administration increasingly pointing fingers at China for letting the virus out. A senior intelligence official telling Fox News that as many as three-quarters of the 17 intelligence agencies believe coronavirus escaped because of a mistake at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from a laboratory in Wuhan.
China firing back at the accusations today, insisting Pompeo is, quote, insane.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. The Paycheck Protection Act, which has allowed small businesses to continue to pay employees during the pandemic, has gone through more than half its latest influx of money. And sources tell Fox News it could run dry by the end of the week or early next week.
There's $175 billion of the $310 billion that's been used, and all the systems have been caught up. We couldn't be more pleased. In this round, there's 2.2 million loans already done at an average loan size of $79,000. So we're really seeing this is going directly to small businesses.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin on Mornings with Maria on Fox Business. So far, the administration has not asked for more money. Lawyers for former Democratic presidential candidates Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang urging a judge to overrule the decision by the state of New York to cancel its presidential primary, saying the decision was unconstitutional. Derek Almina, one of two men charged in a fire at an illegal party in a cluttered warehouse in San Francisco Bay in 2017, where 36 people were killed, has been freed from jail due to the virus, but is wearing an ankle monitor while he awaits trial scheduled for July.
Basically.
America is listening to Fox News.
So only
Successful companies
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
I'm going to press live on YouTube. We're not live yet. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Truth Frequency Radio. You are now listening to The Matrix Unveiled.
Just waiting for the intro. It's a trip. Turn it up again. Welcome back, everyone, to The Matrix Unveiled. My